Well, hello everyone. My name is Dave Lee, otherwise known as Nizuul, and I'm a video game developer, a game designer, and a dungeon master for Chaotic Good. For those of you who don't know me, just a little bit about me is I spent 7 years in the video game industry. Was fortunate enough to ship 3 titles, which was cool. But since then, I've gone indie, so I'm freelancing now and working on a couple different cool projects, and I'm real excited about them. But I kind of took a break from the public eye for a bit while I transitioned into my freelancing role because I also moved. So I was able to move to the place I've always wanted to live, the Pacific Northwest. So I'm here now, and I'm happy, my body's healthy, and the creative juices are flowing like never before. So everything's really cool. But one important thing you need to know, though, is even though I left the public eye for just a little bit, I never stopped playing D&D. In fact, the Chaotic Good Gang and myself have been playing Princes of the Apocalypse now for quite some time. We've been playing pretty much weekly, and we're about a third of the way through the campaign, and it has been awesome. And so awesome, in fact, I really wanted to make a video for you guys all and kind of share some of the stuff I've been doing to make this campaign come to life and just be a lot cooler and more engaging for the players, I guess you would say. But we've been running the game privately. We weren't streaming this time. We decided not to, just because of my transitioning to the Pacific Northwest and moving and all stuff, and everyone else that seemed to have stuff in their life as well. But we've been just playing privately. But like I said, I've added a ton of cool stuff, and I got to share them with you. But for this video, though, I want you to know, though, there's going to be spoilers. So spoiler alert, spoiler alert. So for the Princes of the Apocalypse campaign, I'm just going to be going in, and I'm not going to really hold anything back. But so for today's episode and workshop, what I really kind of want to do is I purchased the Princes of the Apocalypse on Roll20 as a module. Best purchase I've ever made. Seriously. I was blown away by what you get. So I kind of wanted to show you, excuse me, what I got. And then also go over one thing that I've done so far to change it, even though I've done a ton of different things to modify the module and add new mechanics to make it just a lot cooler. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. Let me show you the Prince of the Apocalypse module that you would get if you purchased it on Roll20. So you can see here, first thing is it comes with a ton of maps. Look at this. Check this out. Look at all the maps. Now, I made some of these maps, I'll admit, but you get all the maps, and not only are they pre-populated, they are built with dynamic lighting in place, too. So you can see all the monsters, the tokens, all the creatures in this game are already created for you. And they have hyperlinks to all their abilities and everything, so it's just super, super awesome. But check this out, too, is Roll20 comes with dynamic lighting. So I can click this, and you can see how they've already built the dynamic lighting in. And they also colored the doors orange, so I can just grab that door as a separate piece there, either delete it, or I can move it out of the way, and then light now will pour into the room. So that has made the game like super awesome, super cool, and I've been really thrilled. Another cool thing, let me show you, is so as a DM and you're getting all your story stuff here, let me go ahead and I'll just grab a little note here. So we'll just say the adventure synopsis. Here, we pull that up here. And you can see it has hyperlinks. So it's giving you the synopsis of the adventure, but it's also hyperlinking you to the different aspects of the adventure. So, for example, the town of Red Larch. I could click right on there. Brings up Red Larch. And I get all the details of Red Larch. Here's all the NPCs from Red Larch. So I could click on one here. And here comes the NPC. Already pre-built with notes of who this person is. They got their character sheet right here. And then if you want to go in and fudge their numbers, you can go in here and fudge numbers. But this has made my job of running this campaign just so much easier and taken so much work off my shoulders. And all I've done then is focused on creating cool additional stuff to get the players really bought into the campaign, which I'll go over one thing I did in this particular workshop. And I'll give you one mechanic that I made a change on. So I just wanted to show you that there. So let's go ahead real quick and just run right back to the start here and talk about the mechanics. So now this campaign is built around this elemental evil that is going to manifest in the world. And when it does, it's going to take the form of either fire, earth, water, or air, and take over and just create this Titanic-sized creature, embracing that element and just destroy the world. And that's its goal. So what it's done is it's reached out to 4 different personages in the world, NPCs, and recruited them and turned them into their prophets. So each element has a prophet. So you have 4 elements and 4 different prophets. Now these prophets are the big bosses that the party needs to take down in the latter half of the game. But what I noticed in the module, which really wasn't inspiring me, was that the prophets themselves, the first time the players really come into contact with them is when they're fighting them. So there's really not a lot of, I mean, it's like, okay, cool, I need to kill you, but there's not a lot of emotional investment in why they're killing and so on and so forth. So let me just go into each of these prophets. So we got Erisy, she's the air prophet. And see how you got the hyperlink here? You go right to her artwork, show the artwork to the players and stuff like that. And notice in her hand, though, she has that big spear. I'll talk about that in a second. Let's go to the next one. The next one is Gar. So we got Gar here. And Gar is the prophet of the element of water. Got a cool handout here. You see him there in all his glory. And you can notice he's got this trident here. Talk about that in a second as well. And we got to keep moving on. Then we go to Marlos. Marlos is the prophet of the earth. We can go to his cool artwork here as well. Bring that up and notice his war pick. So here's his awesome. He's a Medusa too, so that's just so cool. I love this guy. And you know, of the earth, Medusa of the earth. It's cool. So these guys, you know, they really have a chance to have some really creative personalities and stuff for the DM to really get into. But like I said, in the module, you really don't run into them that much at all, in fact, until you're actually fighting them. So let me tell you, I'll give you an idea of what I did to change that a little bit. But last one here, our fire prophet is Vanifer. Notice the dagger in her hand. All right. So you've been introduced to the 4 prophets who are going to bring forth the princes of the apocalypse. Now, what I did is the players themselves each have their own weapons, and my players like to do, you know, really crazy stuff with their characters. So we got these prophets with like a war pick, a trident, a dagger, and you know, those kind of weapons really don't inspire anything for my characters because none of them carry those weapons. So what I did is, the first thing I did is I switched out their weapons, just the color of them, and kept the stats, really is what I did. So they're still stupid powerful, but like for example, I have a character who's really creative and wanted to make a fighter, but make it, instead of a crossbow, turn it more into an air gun. So he kind of uses a little bit of technology and fires an air gun. And so of course Erisy, the prophet of the air, carries this. So that right there is going to get that particular party member much more interested in taking her down in a big way. So I'm going to, you know what, actually I'm going to move one thing here real quick here. I'm going to just slide this over just so you can get a little better visual on some of these images I'm posting here. And then so now the prophet of fire, instead of carrying the dagger, I have a little character in my party named War Dog. He's a gnome, real ferocious barbarian gnome, and he has gauntlets, clawed gauntlets, and just runs in there and just whirlwinds around and just cuts everyone to shreds. So I changed her dagger out to these. So now that weapon is much more appealing to the party as they want to go ahead and get it. And instead of a trident, I moved it over to a staff because I have a monk in the party who carries a staff. So now he's after this. This weapon's called Drown. And then last but not least, I have another character in the game who uses what he calls a meteor hammer. So plays a little girl with this gigantic oversized weapon. And it's just basically a big giant footman's flail or horseman's flail with a 10-foot reach. It's called a meteor hammer. And so, of course, the Marlos, the prophet of earth, carries that. So now what we've done is, now by doing this, one is now the party, when they get a sight of these guys, they see the weapon. And I'll tell you a little story about that too, of the first time it happened. It was pretty cool. But so the weapons, the other thing I did is, one last thing is I created a new mechanic, which is the whole reason I'm making this video in the first place. And that mechanic I call Dreams and Nightmares. So to get the party to actually see these prophets and get to interact with these prophets, I created this mechanic. So after a long rest, the DM rolls a die 20. The party has normal dreams unless the roll is 17 or higher, in which case the party suffers elemental nightmares. If elemental nightmares occur, each player makes a special saving throw. On a 10 or higher, no ill effects are suffered. If failed, the character suffers 1 level of exhaustion. If a 1 is rolled, the player suffers 2 levels of exhaustion. If a 20 is rolled, the player gains a charm of their choice from the Dungeon Master's Guide page 228. They're like little temporary buffs the player gets. So probably in his nightmare, he was faced with this prophet and was able to overcome him and take him out. Something cool like that would happen. He'd wake up totally invigorated, or she would wake up totally invigorated, and then have a charm added. Elemental nightmares always end in some sort of tangible elemental visit by the various prophets that showcase violent displays of elemental power. The DM determines the flavor of these. As prophets are eliminated, nightmares become more infrequent. And so basically the number that I need to roll to make them happen gets higher. So once a prophet is taken out, I have to roll an 18 to make these nightmares happen. Then a 19, and then they only happen on a 20, obviously because prophets are being eliminated one at a time. But the first time this happened, it was Marlos, the Earth Prophet, that manifested. So of course they had this dream, and his a vision of him came too. But also the thing about these is there's an actual tangible violent display of elemental power. So they were all awoken to the earth shaking. Fissures were erupting, dirt's flying everywhere, and all the dirt that erupted up just coalesced into this humanoid figure of a Medusa made of stone. And he sat there, and of course he monologues to the party, "You pitiful fools, you have no chance." But of course that's the first time they saw the meteor hammer, and let me tell you, the party went, "Oh." Particularly the party member who's playing the girl who carries meteor hammer. So now she's just like laser sighted on you. And it was cool because now they did that little foreshadowing of what's to come and get them a little more emotionally invested, because these guys love to talk a lot of doo-doo. So they're going to be calling out the party, mocking the party constantly. And so to this day, we've had 2 times this has occurred. Once with fire and once with earth. But there's just a little mechanic I'm overlaying the campaign just to get the party a little more bought in and going there. Now I've added a ton of extra stuff in addition to this, and that's why I kind of wanted to put this little series together and just do a little workshop on this and kind of just go over the cool stuff I've been able to add. Now, I'm very interested in what you guys are doing too. So if you're on Twitter, feel free to just comment underneath the Periscope and let me know if you got some cool stuff you're doing, or if you're watching this on YouTube, post in the comments. Another thing too is if you enjoy the workshops, do me a big favor and just give a like, and if you could share it, that would be amazing. Either retweet it or share it on YouTube. I would so appreciate that too, and just help support me as I go ahead and share the stuff we've been doing in this campaign. But yeah, that's pretty much the first workshop I wanted to get out of the way. Talk about foreshadowing. Like I said, I got a lot more mechanics I've added to this particular campaign. Stuff you guys are more than welcome to use in yours. Look forward to hearing the comments. Hopefully you guys got some cool ideas too, and I might bring those in and talk about them later too as well. So yeah, so with that, that's the end of my first video, and I thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. And like I said, please like and share if you enjoyed it, and have a great gaming day. Woo! See you later.